as I've warned for a while, regardless of who is in power, we are goose stepping into the new digital age, and it's not going to be good. Canada's digital ID scheme faces backlash for bypassing Parliament and raising surveillance fears. That's in Canada. Of course, we have what's happening in Australia. Bill Gates backs Australia's social media age ban, advocates for digital ID expansion, which we're also seeing in the United States, which in general doesn't sound like the worst thing ever, but it's a Trojan horse to bring in a full surveillance system on the internet, which is already generally in place, but in a far greater way with digital IDs. And now Trump is pushing this as well. One way or another, we are heading in the same direction, regardless of who is in office. And indeed, it's going to affect every single one of you. And one of the ways it's going to affect you is the way that you cannot get food, you cannot get electricity, water, all these things, if you do not bend the knee to that technocratic system. We have the unrolling of this infrastructure worldwide right now. There's no doubt about it. And it's speeding up. And again, as I've reported previously, it seems to be correlating with this quite well. The United Nations Pact for the Future was signed in September by 193 countries, which allows these governments around the world to essentially lock down your bank account if you say negative things about the government. It allows them to put in carbon credits and social credits attached to your credit cards. It allows them to basically track and trace you everywhere, watch you online, and force you into a food ration system. And of course, a big part of that is the utilization of AI in this technocracy that is being created around us. Canada's digital ID scheme faces backlash for bypassing Parliament and raising surveillance fears. Unelected regulators pushed digital IDs in Canada, sidestepping Parliament and raising concerns over surveillance risk. The global push to get countries to expand the use of digital ID almost received a major boost in Canada last fall, federal records show. Among the digital ID schemes were those intended for pensioners, people filing taxes, and employment insurance EI claimants. That is described as optional, cost of $6.4 million and has for now failed, reports say. The process of attempting to introduce this fast and efficient access to government services was less than optimal. It was pushed by unelected regulators circumventing the country's parliament, which got several MPs to criticize the move for potential of surveillance-linked abuses, but also for cost and security. Well, my biggest issue isn't the cost. They print money out of thin air and they bankrupt people one way or another. But it's when you give up the biggest form of free will, which is just your ability to be. I believe that with this rollout, we saw censorship on social media for all these years. The ultimate censorship, I believe, is going down to the individual's ability to eat, ability to own a home property, because of course you will own nothing and you will be happy, says Klaus Schwab. Allows you to have electricity, water, all these different things, and not have it restricted because, in this new system, you will be restricted if you say negative things on social media. This is already written in stone with the United Nations. And also, they have these things in Canada, like the Emergency Planning Act, sections 18 and 18.1, which were re-signed in back, I believe, in 2021. And in that Emergency Planning Act, it includes something that I think everyone needs to know about, which is the ability to kill you if they want to under emergency orders, starve you out, force rations on you, kill your pets, take your home, take your vehicles, do whatever they want to you, essentially, ban you from having livestock, ban you from growing food. I want to point out also that Trump and Elon recently said that they want to utilize the blockchain for like payments overall, which sounds great if you're going to be a decentralized blockchain and privacy coins and all that stuff. I'm a big fan of, but that's not what it is. And it isn't Bitcoin. It is like a USDT, US dollar tether, or an XRP Ripple type infrastructure, which the Clinton Foundation was working on for years, and which also leads to a connection with digital IDs online. And of course, we already know that that's the case. Like Trump supports biometrics for migrants, which is a Trojan horse because the CIA is causing the mass migration, and then they come in with biometrics at the same time as Florida and others try to bring in digital IDs to use the internet. And these are Republicans doing this in order to stop kids from watching porn, which, look, that's great. But I mean, that is a parent's job to stop kids from getting into all that kind of stuff. When you bring in the government to do this, what you end up with is a digital ID system. It's a Trojan horse. Same with the new crypto legislation that's coming in. It's clearly a digital, it's a Trojan horse for digital IDs. And it shouldn't surprise anyone, considering Trump just put $500 billion into AI. And of course, Elon Musk, his right-hand man right now, is a literal technocrat. He wants guaranteed basic income. They say, oh, well, this AI, it's going to wipe out jobs. But don't worry, it's inevitable. There's nothing you could do. 41% of jobs will be destroyed in the next few years by AI. But don't worry, you'll get guaranteed basic income, says Elon Musk. That is literally what the World Economic Forum wants. All the while, he's been calling for carbon taxes as of recently. I mean, how much more evidence do people need that this is going that way, regardless of who's in power? The end goal, the climatic ending is going to be a digital ID system, whether it's through the left's climate policies, which destroys the supply chain, or their wars, or the right's migrant policies or their wars, or the idea of getting ahead of the curve in technology and replacing humanity, which comes on both sides of this, and it all leads to food shortages, which comes in with digital IDs attached to CBDCs, creating an infrastructure completely dependent on the states. And again, all under the guise of saving you in an emergency order. The overall attempt at the end of the day is to control people, body and mind. This is where we're going. And it means a complete destruction of human independence. And human independence is what makes humanity what it is. Consciousness.